What's going on YouTube? I got a little bit of different of a video for you today. Not too long ago, I just kind of wondered to myself, what kind of support could Konami print for Eldlich? So I decided to make a few cards, and I ended up making 5, all of which I think are fair, not super overpowered, because, whenever anybody makes custom cards for their archetype, they always go insano mode with them. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be competitive but fair, something that was realistic. So we're going to start with what I believe would be the most likely of the ones I've made and go all the way down to the least likely of the ones I've made. And we're going to start with this one. It is Crusader of the Golden Land. I tried to make it based off of Eldlich lore as much as possible, and basically Eldlich lore is based off of the cursed city of Dorado and explorers going to try and get the treasure, and they keep getting turned into golden zombies because they didn't have the same willpower that Eldlich did to control the Philosopher's Stone or something like that. It's the alchemical stuff. But anyway, this is a Crusader who went looking for the Golden Land. And what he does is he's just like Conquistador, Huquero, Guardian. He has almost the exact same text, but a different effect. So this one is special summon this card as a normal monster. It's a zombie light level 7, attack 2500, defense 800. This card is also still a trap. Then, if you control Eldlich the Golden Lord, you can send one face-up card on the field to the graveyard. During the end phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, set one Elixir spell trap directly from your deck. You can use each Crusader of the Golden Land effect once per turn, and only once that turn. Alright, so basically, this one sends any face-up card to the grave, instead of destroys or banishes or whatever. I felt that send was another effect that Eldlich could really use to get rid of troublesome monsters, so I thought this one would be really good to help him in games where you have a towers monster. You might have noticed that this one's a little bit different than Conquistador and Huquero, where you can use both effects on the same turn. So, for example, Conquistador, if you use its pop effect and then it goes to the graveyard the same turn, you can't use its second effect that turn. This one, you would be able to. I thought that was pretty fair power creep to be able to do that. But what I've noticed in play testing, because I did print these out and I play tested with almost a pure Eldlich deck, like literally almost only Eldlich cards. It rips, man. Basically, your first turn is a little weak, but if you make it past turn 2, the amount of resource gain you get from what I've made is just absolute insanity. And I would say I might even have, if they, let's say they printed all these tomorrow, I would probably make this only one of the effects per turn, just like Conquistador and Huquero, because this is the speed at which you get rolling with these cards is insane. But we'll move on to the next one. I like Crusader quite a bit. It just helps you cover some weaknesses that Eldlich has for removal. All right, the second one is Explorer of the Golden Land. This is another more modern person who got tempted by the treasure within Dorado, and he was also turned into a zombie. This is probably my favorite art. It is the most Eldlich art, legitimate art. It just looks so Yugioh to me. You have the cursed temple in the background. The explorer looks great. I thought this was a really good one. This one's effect. Special summon this card as a normal monster. Zombie light level 7, 800 attack, 2500 defense. So the exact opposite of Crusader. This card is also still a trap. Then if you control Eldlich the Golden Lord, you can negate one face-up card on the field for the rest of his turn. It does not target. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Set one Elixir spell trap directly from your deck. You can use each Explorer of the Golden Land effect once per turn, and only once that turn. So extremely similar to Crusader of the Golden Land, where you can use both effects on the same turn. And it's very good defensively, which is nice. Just helps protect your life points. And it's a non-targeting negate, which I don't even know if those exist in Yu-Gi-Oh! But basically all of Eldlich's traps don't target. You know, you're looking at Guardian, you're looking at Haquero. Yeah, Haquero, you're looking at Conquistador. Like, none of them target at all. This is the exact same wording as all those other traps, except for the ending, where you can use both effects. So I don't even know if this is possible in Yu-Gi-Oh! I discussed this with a few buddies of mine, and they weren't sure if this has ever been a thing. So if it needs to be a target negate, maybe it has to be. I don't know. But I felt like Eldlich needed something that wasn't Golden Land Forever, because that is a terrible, terrible negation. I know it's an Omni negate, but it requires tributing Eldlich, which Eldlich needs to be on the field for any other of his traps to work. So it's just a terrible, terrible card that you never, ever want to play. So I wanted to give him a competent negate. But same thing with this. It is not one effect per turn. You can use both. But again, I think it's probably more likely that they would make it just like Conquistador and Quero, where you only get one of the effects per turn. And like I said, in play testing, that is still very much a powerhouse. Like, it really gets rolling with the rest of the cards I've made here. All right, we will move on to the third most likely card. This is Elixir of Reawakening. Now, I might get crap for this one because I believe it's the Philosopher's Stone. It goes through three different metamorphoses. You have your white, black, and red. So I can't really come up with another color, unfortunately. Red is the final stage, which is what Eldlich has, so I needed to come up with another Elixir, so I was like, okay, I guess I'm just going to have to use the same red. I don't know what else to do. But basically this one is to cover Eldlich's, one of his main weaknesses. So you special summon one zombie monster from your hand, graveyard, or that is banished. But if you control no Eldlich monsters, you can only special summon Eldlich monsters with this effect. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except zombie monsters. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, set one golden land spell trap directly from your deck. You can use each Elixir of Reawakening effect once per turn, and only once that turn. So this is a better Elixir of White Destiny. Essentially does the same exact thing of Elixir of White Destiny, except it can summon Eldlich from the banished pile. One of his main weaknesses. If he gets banished, he's gone. And it also, just like all the other ones have done, you can use each effect once per turn instead of just one of them. Again, if Konami were to print this, they would probably just make it so you only can use one effect per turn, and that is honestly okay. But if you're wondering where all the art came from, this is all AI generated art. I probably could even make it better, but I literally, all these cards took me like an hour or two, probably like 2 hours. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty fair card. It doesn't summon from deck, but it does rescue him from being banished, which is one of his main weaknesses. So yeah, by the way, if you guys have any constructive criticisms, if you have any ideas, if you think I should change these cards, please leave a comment. I would love to hear. Okay, like I by no means think these are perfect. These are works in progress. So if you have anything you want to add or anything you think doesn't look right, let me know. All right, we'll move on to the third. So this card is a field spell, something I think Eldlich really, really needs. It is the Golden Land of Dorado. Basically, while this card is face up on the field, your Elixir spell traps cannot be responded to. You can only use each of the following effects of the Golden Land of Dorado once per turn. You can set one Cursed Eld Land or one Elixir spell trap directly from your deck. And during the end phase, set one Elixir or Golden Land spell trap that is banished to your field. So this is your primary resource loop and gaining card. This is what gets the Eldlich engine humming. So there's three effects basically. Your Elixir spell traps can't be responded to. So essentially they can't be ashed. If you're summoning Eldlich from deck off of something like Scarlet Sanguine, they can't ash you. I thought this was fair because I kind of took this from Lovely Labyrinth, Basically, you can't respond to any normal traps under her. So why would it be unfair that only Elixers, things that summon Eldlich, can't respond? Like, why would that be unfair? Because all these spells and traps that we have require Eldlich to be on the field for them to do anything other than summon themselves. So I thought just being able to get Eldlich on the field was fair. The first other effect after it's been activated, set one Cursed Eldland or one Elixir spell trap directly from your deck. So essentially this gets you Cursed Eldland, which can set golden lands or fetch Eldlich for you. Or you can get your Elixir spell traps. And notice these set. These, just like all the other like banishing from graveyard effects on our traps that set the opposite card, this sets, so it works around Ash as well. Oh, and Droll. And then during the end phase, you can set one Elixir or one golden land spell trap that is banished to your field. So what this one's doing is if a spell trap is banished during the end phase, or not even doing that, let's even say you can't do it the same end phase, like they missed timing. This would get you a spell trap that you banished to set, let's say, an Elixir. You can reset that golden land that you used to set Elixir the next turn. So it gets your resource loop going. It just this is the creme de la creme of the Eldlich engine. I believe this is exactly what he needs, because not only does it keep you grinding constantly, if this isn't removed, at one point I had a protection effect on this as well, but I thought that was just way too powerful. But if you don't remove this, basically Eldlich will never be outgrinded. Like, there's no way. Because not only can you set one from deck, you can set one from banished pile as well. So that's two spell traps per turn. And that's not even counting your draws and stuff. Or you're banishing spell traps to set more spell traps. Like, this thing, it's just the amount of resource gain and resource looping with this is absolute insanity in my playtesting. Even if I set all spell traps to only one effect per turn, like you get your field effect one turn and your graveyard effect the next turn, it is still absolute freaking insanity. This is exactly what Eldlich needs. You could get rid of probably every single other card I have, and this would be probably good enough. I'm not even joking. This card is absolutely insane. But it's not like, the only reason it's good is because it gets you your resource loop and gain. Like, Eldlich spell traps are kind of shit. Like, especially compared to like things like Torrential Tribute. They're all single use, like single target, not even target, but single effect things, where Torrential Tribute wipes a whole board. But the fact that you can reset stuff so much, this is a mind-bogglingly good card in playtesting. If you get this card set up, you probably win the game, unless they can remove it. Do I think this is likely? Probably not. But this is my, if they made any card, this is the one I want, because it is amazing. All right, and we'll go to the last one. This is the least likely, because I was like, well, Eldlich could use a tutor, could use a normal summon. This is Servant of the Golden Land. Basically, Eldlich needs a servant, right? He's a golden lord in a golden castle. Why not have a servant? It's a normal summon, level 1 tuner, zombie. No quick effect on the field. If he's normal summon, just like, let's say, Taya of the Sword Soul, you can discard one card, set one Elixir or golden land card from your deck or graveyard to the field. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except zombie monsters. If this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, shuffle one of your banished Elixir or golden land spell traps into the deck. Special summon this monster. You can only use each Servant of the Golden Land effects once per turn, and only once that turn. So this one ties a lot together. So this one can search basically anything. It can search your Cursed Eldland. It can search your field spell that I made. It can search any of your golden lands, any of your elixirs. This is the card that's your starter. It gets everything. And it sends one from your hand. So you can send Eldlich. You can send one of your golden lands. You can send one of your elixirs. Whatever you need to get rid of, and then use its effect in the end phase or main phase, depending on if it's a spell or a trap, to set more. Like, this one card, gets you 5 cards. Okay, not 5, but like 3 or 4. And then obviously I have to have the restriction on there, so you can only use zombie monsters after that. This also resets, like if your field spell is destroyed, this can reset it because it can pull from graveyard. And then if the card's just in the graveyard, quick effect, you can shuffle one of your banished Eldlich or Golden Land spell traps into the deck, special summon this monster. So this isn't one effect per turn, but what you probably would want to do is if he's destroyed, or if you like link him off or something, you'd want to wait to use his effect, let's say for your opponent's turn, or your like the end phase of your opponent's turn. So then on your turn, his quick effect shuffle, so that gets you resources back into your deck. And then when he's summoned, he can set, as long as he wasn't used, his other effect wasn't used on the field that turn. When he special summons, he sets another spell trap. So he's just a really good tutor. He's a really good starter. I mean, he's super good. I think this is probably the least likely because he's a monster, which I don't believe has any monsters besides himself. But yeah, this is probably the least likely one. Even if we only got that field spell, that would honestly make Eldlich competitive again. It is absolute insanity. But yeah, do you guys have any suggestions? You notice I didn't make another Eldlich boss monster because I wanted to focus everything around him. Basically, I wanted to make Eldlich the center of all these cards. Like he was, like I tried to keep it as lore accurate and as mechanically accurate as I possibly could. And if you have any suggestions for making it more accurate mechanically or lore-wise, I would love to hear them. These are not set in stone. I can make changes to these at any point. I can update the art. If you think the art's shit on any of these cards, let me know. My least favorite arts on these are probably, I mean, while this one looks insanely good, it's the least Yu-Gi-Oh art. So Servant of the Golden Land is probably the least like Yu-Gi-Oh. Same thing with the Cursed Land same thing with the field spell being not very Yu-Gi-Oh-esque art. So yeah, I can always update the art. Just takes a little time to prompt the AI to give me something new. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on cards to make, any suggestions on updating these cards, leave them in the comments because I am definitely up for discussion on it. And yeah, I really, really like Eldlich, and I'd love to see him get some at least decent support. And if he got anything even close to these, I think it'd be extremely competitive. Like literally, if he just got a new trap like Crusader and the field spell, that alone would be insanity for Eldlich. Like it would be so good. But yeah, if you got anything, let me know. I'd love to hear it. And yeah, hopefully you like this new kind of video. If you did, also let me know because I can work on other archetypes and generate more custom cards. And if you want to use these in like custom games, like if you want to, print out or whatever, reach out to me. I can send you the card information and you can print them out yourself and play with them. All right. I will talk to you guys later.